Hey, Chris, I'm not a co-host. Tracy still is.
Morning, Chris.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here with us this morning virtually. I'm Sarah Spalding, Chair of the Jefferson County Good News Coalition. And on behalf of the steering committee, I'd like to express my appreciation for everyone who is joining us this morning for our 31st annual Good News Breakfast celebration. Before we get started, I'd like to take just a moment to remember those who lost their lives at Columbine High School 22 years ago today, and recognize all the heroes who responded to the scene and cared for victims at area hospitals. Although we are enjoying our breakfast at home this year, and we are together over video conference, our goal for this event is the same: to celebrate the positive values and good news in our community, and to honor unsung heroes who make Jefferson County a great place to live and work. As part of our celebration, we'd like to invite everyone on this morning's video conference to share your own good news in the chat. Our theme this year is Jeffco's Inspiration, Heroes Bringing Us Together. And we are excited to recognize groups and individuals who have made extraordinary efforts to serve our community members during what was a difficult last year. Our honorees help ensure that Jefferson County truly provides a welcoming, nurturing environment. The Good News Breakfast was created in 1989 when Terry Nelson, Jim Billings, and Alan Landes decided that they were tired of hearing so much negative news. They wanted to highlight the positive happenings and people in Jeffco. So they brought together a coalition of volunteers from the faith community, service and professional organizations, businesses and schools, as well as first responder agencies and local government. That group became the Good News Coalition, which sponsors this annual breakfast. This breakfast would not be possible without the hard work of the Good News Steering Committee members, and I'd like to thank each and every one of them. Some have been on the committee since it began 31 years ago. Other members have just recently joined us. If you'd like to be involved to help plan next year's event, please contact one of us by going to the website at goodnewsjeffco.org. To begin our program this morning, please welcome Chaplain Scott Moore, Chaplain for the Wheat Ridge Police Department and Associate Director of the Rocky Mountain Police Chaplains.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Sarah. Today we celebrate those who have shined brightly in a year that has seemed dark. We celebrate those that have refused to allow the bad to outweigh the good. And we celebrate those that even when they could have looked the other way, they stood in the gap to make a difference for others who needed it the most. As we begin, I ask that you'll pray with me. God of all good, today we celebrate the heroes who have answered your call to bring us together, to bring light where there may be darkness, and to be instruments for that which is good. Today, we ask that you bless those who in a year filled with difficulties and uncertainties have made a difference in our community, courageously dedicating themselves to the tireless and the sacrificial service of others. We thank you for the many and diverse talents that the people of Jefferson County have shared. I pray that you use these gifts to continue to bless our communities around us, and that you honor and bless the individuals we're lifting up today. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for those beautiful words, Scott, and for opening our program this morning. The Wheat Ridge Police Department Honor Guard will now present the colors. And now, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now I'd like to introduce our MC and Master of Ceremonies, longtime Good News Committee member, Neil Brown.
Thanks, Sarah, and thanks to all of you for being here this morning. Wow, we didn't even get to do this last year, so we're counting this hybrid time, at least that we can do it, as a plus. And guess what? Your commute was a whole lot better this morning. Didn't have to deal with the icy streets. As a part of our introduction this morning, we're going to be honored to have Morgan Fritzler, who is a junior at Lakewood High School, performing our national anthem. She enjoys acting and performing, and she's participated in a lot of the school shows. And when you hear her sing, you'll understand why. She's been in numbers such as Big Fish, West Side Story, Guys and Dolls, and the 39 Steps. And she's frequently asked to perform the national anthem. And thanks to all of you for the opportunity to perform at the virtual Good News Breakfast.
Hello, my name is Morgan Fritzler. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you so much, Morgan. We do appreciate your being involved. And wow, what a great voice. I know you're going to go far on that. I'm privileged now to introduce today's keynote speaker, who is Omar Montgomery. He is the Director of Black Student Services and the Adjunct Professor of Ethnic Studies for the University of Colorado, Denver, where he founded a youth leadership program, which is dedicated to nurturing civic engagement skills of high school and college students. Omar continues his family tradition of strengthening the community that he's in and is a key stakeholder in Colorado's Transforming Safety Initiative. And that's a program which creates new economic opportunities for people in Northwest Aurora. Right now, he is currently serving as the president of the Aurora branch of the NAACP. He's also working with the Aurora Police Department's Citizens Advisory Board and key community response team to improve law enforcement's relationship with some of the underprivileged communities around. Omar has his bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and he didn't stop there. He has his dual master's in education administration and public administration, and is a proud family man. He's a father. He's companion to his dog Marley. And Omar, if you ever get another dog, don't name him Jacob. We could have a lot of confusion around Christmas time. Thanks for being with us today, Omar.
Good morning, Neil. Thank you for that warm introduction. And by the way, I just want to borrow your voice for about 10 minutes one day. Yeah, just for about 10 minutes.
Well, thank you.
I want to thank you for inviting me to be a part of the Good News Breakfast. And in these times, we need good news. And for it to be inspired by a coalition of individuals called Jefferson County Inspiration, if I'm correct, or Jeffco Inspiration, I'm just inspired myself. Now, I'm going to share some things about me in this 10 minutes that I'm going to deny. I know there's 100 and something people on this call, but I'm going to deny every single bit of it. But I want to say thank you to the heroes that's being recognized today, and to have our theme be bringing us together. Heroes bringing us together. Well, for those of you who don't know, this gray on my face is real. And as I begin to share this story, you will understand. I can't say that I was a hero or ever inspired to be a hero, but this one time in life, I was extremely courageous in middle school. See, I went to middle school, and for those who ever had a crush on someone in middle school, when I was growing up, there was no Facebook, there was no social media. You actually had to either write a letter or walk up to the person and let them know how you feel. So after watching a couple of episodes of Happy Days, watching the Fonz, and after watching a few other episodes of Good Times, watching JJ, I practiced in the mirror and I said, this is the day this is going to happen. I'm going to walk up to this person and let them know how much I like them. So I get to school, I'm practicing on the bus, I'm practicing on the way, and I walk into the library and I see her. And my heart is racing, and I'm like, okay, this is the time. This is what's going to happen. And I walked up to her and I said, can I talk to you for a minute? She's sitting with her friends. And I'm thinking, you know, Happy Days, Good Times, this is going to fall just like that story. She looked at me and she said, what do you want? I stood there looking like a fool because in Happy Days and Good Times, they didn't tell you how to deal with rejection. So I'm standing there, I'm sweating, I don't know what to do. All I know is that Good Times and the Fonz didn't have the answer for rejection. And her and her friends continue to laugh at me the rest of the semester. Fast forward. After graduating from college, I went to go teach at a school called Stevenson's Middle School in Long Beach, California. It was in one of the more rougher areas of Long Beach, California, and they had me teach science. Now, there's something wrong with that because none of my degrees have a science background. But the bar that they gave me was, if you could just keep the students in the room, we're happy. They have ran off 5 teachers in the first semester. And the principal walked me in the classroom, and the first student saw me, said, "Who's that fool?" And the principal slapped me on the shoulder and said, "Good luck, Mr. Montgomery. This is your class," and walked out the room. Now, mind you, I'm young. I'm inspired. I think I got this. I'm going to change these kids' minds. They put them desks together and started running track on the desk. They started throwing stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, time out. This is not what I perceived teaching to be. At the end of the day, I was a little demoralized. I was like, is teaching for me? Is college for me? Is this for me? And the teacher walked up to me and said, "Mr. Montgomery, you did a fabulous job." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "This time they didn't run out the classroom. They just stayed in." I said, "This is the bar that you have for these students." I said, something's wrong. Something's not right. If the only bar there is for me to keep them in the classroom, something is not right. Once again, we're talking about this perception. And so, anybody remember the DARE program, when the police officer come in the classroom and tell you about drugs and things of this nature? So this motorcycle officer comes in. This is my second week in the class. I'm building a little bond with the students, but they're still running track on the desk, but just not as many laps. So we're good. We're good. Instead of 10 laps, they're only doing 2. So we got some learning in. And the police officer comes in. Now, mind you, my relationship with law enforcement wasn't always the best. So I did him the way the principal did me. I introduced him and said, "Here's your class." And boy, did they give him a rough ride that first day. So this officer looks at me and says, "You have to deal with this every day?" I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "How about I buy you lunch?" You hear this silence right now? That was me. I said, "Buy me lunch? Where am I going to sit in your car?" I ain't sitting in the back because I'm not going to be a criminal, and I'm not sitting in the front because I don't want my students thinking I'm a snitch. So as we walk into his car, I am like sweating profusely because I really don't know what to do with this situation. He says, "Mr. Montgomery, I can see a little anxiety. You can sit in the front, and we're going to go around the corner to a taco stand." Anybody from California know good tacos can solve a lot of problems. So we go to this taco stand, and he says, "Mr. Montgomery, the reason why I want to take you to lunch is because I have some things on my mind, and you seem to be a good person to talk to." This is coming off a lot of different unrest in Los Angeles, California, similar to the time we are right now today, because 92, 93, and I was teaching in 94. So that tells you there still was tension back then, but this officer wanted to take me to lunch because there was nowhere else he felt safe to share what was on his mind. And we went to lunch 5 days straight and didn't agree on nothing. I'm going to repeat this. We went to lunch 5 days straight and didn't agree on nothing, but what we did do was humanize each other. We humanized each other. He wasn't the other. He wasn't the enemy. I wasn't the other. I wasn't the enemy. And then the students began to see that we bonded. And when they saw that we bonded, they began to open up to him more. They began to ask him more questions. They began to take the class seriously. And after his session was done, I said, I have to raise the bar for my students. If I can get along with this officer, with a group I had a troubled past with, then anything is possible for these students. So the rest of the semester, I learned as much science as I could. Trust me, after I learned volume, area, and all that stuff, a little geometry, I was a little out my wheelhouse because I definitely wasn't bringing no chemistry sets in because I would have blew up the school. Those kids began to sit in their desks and was anxious to learn. Those kids became more inspired about their education. Those kids left my class. I'm not going to say they were perfect, but definitely had a different perception about their education because they wasn't going to run me away and I wasn't going to quit on them. See, when we talk about the morning time, as I began to get, I'm going to have about 3 or 4 closings, but this probably be the official closing. I think about a song I learned in church talking about this little light of mine. For those who went to church, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Just like the sun right now is shining. See, for me, all of us have a light. The heroes that's being recognized today have a light. And when we're able to let it shine, we can make society a better place. See, for me, everything that I do and everything that we do together, we make this society better for future generations. And you say, what does this have to do with your opening remarks about being turned down in the library in middle school? It was the fact that I had to be courageous, to be embarrassed, to follow my face and get back up and not let me quit in life. Yes, I was embarrassed. Yes, she turned me down. Yes, she made me look like a fool. But even after all of that, I still believed in brighter days. So what does that mean? Even in this day and time today, even with verdicts pending, homelessness, all these different things, there's brighter days because of heroes like you that's letting your light shine. Thank you, and thank you for having me for this breakfast today.
Wow. Thank you, Omar. Fantastic. Can we run your comments nationally? I mean, they need to hear this all over the nation. Yeah.
Share it as much as you like. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for being with us, and good luck as you take some of the people in the community and do that one more time. Humanize everybody. Thank you. Wow, as we continue, we'd like to invite you also to be involved and comment because we have our chat box open. It's right over there on the right side of your screen. And just congratulate and comment the people that we are honoring. We're going to let their light shine. In fact, we put a spotlight on so many of the heroes that are in our community that never get to really have a chance to have the stage. But that all changes this morning. And we would love to hear from you as you see the kind of work that they have done. As many of you know, every year at Good News Breakfast, we honor those kinds of people and organizations who have contributed to making our community better and healthier and stronger. And we do it in person usually, but we're having to do it kind of in a hybrid session this morning. And since we've been limited this way, the students at Jeffco's Warren Tech are the ones who have stepped up, and they have said, hey, we're going to take this on. And Emily Wright is just one of the incredibly gifted producers who has gotten her team together and helped us in this challenge by contributing video profiles of our awardees. And Emily and her crew at Warren Tech have interviewed our honorees, and they put together an overview of how they use these very limiting circumstances this past year to, I guess you'd say, reinvent how they could do something in their community and keep serving. And although we can't meet them personally and congratulate them that way this year, we invite you to join us as we celebrate how they have helped keep our community together during these challenging times.
The work that we have done for the community is we have helped feed the needy. Some of them are homeless, some of them are staying in hotels, some of them are in homes, and we help clothe them and we help feed them, and they know that we're here every week. Our statistics for 2020 was we served 2,346 individuals, and we're just honored to be able to help people. Our motto is to reach, teach, and serve, and I feel like we are reaching people and we're serving them. If we wouldn't have stepped in to help people, I feel like there would have been a lot of people who normally come here every week and they wouldn't have had the food and the clothing that they normally depend on from us. And I think that it's a bright outlook coming up because I think a lot of people are getting the vaccination, and I think more people are feeling safer to get out. We will keep reaching out every week with our donations to them. We will hope that more people will come. We have new people every week show up at our door. I was surprised when I heard that we had been chosen for this, and I was honored that our group, our team was honored. We work as a team, and it's not just me, it's the whole group. And the man who nominated us as one of our volunteers, he's not even a member of our church, but he just found out that we were needing help last fall, and he contacted the pastor and said, hey, I want to be a part of your food ministry, and he's been here every week. Thank you very much.
So the Golden Civic Foundation serves as a catalyst. We serve as a hub. We serve as to residents, to nonprofits, to businesses. We were able to address the community needs of the pandemic through a couple different initiatives that we took a risk on. And they weren't really risks. They were just what you do in a small town. We created the COVID-19 Community Response Fund, and to date, we've funded over $80,000 in grants to 12 different nonprofits here in town. It takes everyone to roll up their sleeves when times are tough and make all ships rise. Everything we do, it's for the good of Golden. And so it's very humbling, and we're very honored. Any other person in this town would do the same thing if we had to do it again. And what inspires me is that in this world that we live in, to be able to carry on that civic duty to future generations so that my kids live in just as a special community as Golden.
And all I did was say we'll be there, and I was here every time with my family, whether it was raining or 100 degrees out or only 2 people showed up. I started Wheat Ridge for Equity. We ended up having almost 40 demonstrations from June until September. There was a lot of risk in taking this up. People made threats online against my children. They sometimes pulled over and acted in a very aggressive or antagonizing way. And yet, I don't regret for a moment, nor do we regret as a family, that we continued this work because it is that important. We wanted a race and equity task force, and by January, the task force had been appointed. I think that the city of Wheat Ridge is emerging as a leader in this equity and inclusivity work. I couldn't have done this by myself. It took residents, it took the city council, it took our mayor, and the city staff all playing their role in moving us forward into this work.
When you are faced with something like COVID-19, so many people ask the question, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We get to say, what can we do as a community foundation? And then we do it. COVID-19 made 2020 an incredibly challenging year. And by the end of 2020, we used the Jeffco Hope Fund to grant over $1.5 million. I think we also saw huge disparities in who COVID-19 affected. So those disparities existed typically around racial and ethnic lines before COVID started, and COVID just exacerbated them. We made quick decisions to get the money out the door so that they could respond to the needs that they were seeing in the community. Together, we make good possible. So nothing we do is alone. It's always done together with the community. The fact that Jeffco can pull together the way that it does to support Jeffco nonprofits and support Jeffco residents is really remarkable. And I think we knew that individuals in Jeffco and nonprofits in Jeffco really did have a collaborative spirit and really did want to work together. This award is not about us. We accept this award on behalf of the 226 Jeffco Hope Fund grantees who are truly doing the frontline work to respond to COVID and help our community partners.
Every day, no one that comes in here and says they're hungry would be turned away, ever. We feed people all the time. Last May, the community had been so generous with us. They were giving us a huge tips. Our jars were overflowing, so me and my family took those tips, purchased product, and fed 2,000 first responders. There's been much more need in the community for some food and some kindness. We also had an anonymous donor give us $2,000 to feed, I hate the word needy, people that need some help, that just needed a meal or two. So we enlisted police officers then to find the families, and we handed out all of that food. People inspire me to help people. Me and my family love people, love giving back. We've received a lot of blessings, and we try to give right back. What have I learned? That we're all stronger than we all thought we were, and that just working together that we can overcome anything. Thank you for the recognition. It touched me and my family's heart.
We are pleased to have 2 awardees for honorable mention. At only 21, Morgan Pattison has been active in volunteering at the food bank that operates out of Foothills Fellowship Church in the South Jeffco Littleton area. When the former organizer of the effort had to step down, Morgan stepped up and now coordinates a group of volunteers from their congregation to serve those in the surrounding community who need food for their families. She's had to adapt to how things are done because of the pandemic, but never stopped meeting the needs. She's just reorganized how the process flows. She says she does it because she serves Jesus Christ, and that's what she believes he would have her do, in turn to serve her community. Congratulations and honorable mention to Morgan Pattison. And honorable mention as well to Charlene Lamadou, although everyone just calls her Charlie. Monday and Wednesdays you'll catch her sorting food boxes, filling them, and then helping set up the outdoor market at the Mountain Resource Center's food pantry. Tuesday and Thursday, she's the volunteer manager at the MRC resale store, making sure that customers feel welcome and running the cash register. When there are a few minutes to spare, She's restocking and pricing the store merchandise, but she also cares for all the other volunteers by assembling and decorating a monthly basket of goodies that one volunteer who wins a drawing will get. Why do all this? Charlie says volunteering fills her soul. Congratulations to both our honorable mention awardees.
Congratulations to all of our awardees. What wonderful work is being done across our county. We're so fortunate to live and work here. And many thanks to our fabulous Warren Tech students. What a great job they did on those videos. So if you see them or interact with those students, please let them know how thankful we are. And a special thanks also to our Good News Committee producers, Neil Brown and Christopher Edmonds, for their work guiding the students on this year's program. One of the traditions of the Jeffco Good News Coalition is to honor a member of the Good News Steering Committee each year for their dedication to the community and the committee through induction into the Good News Hall of Fame. This year, I'm proud to announce that our Hall of Fame inductee is Pam Russell, the former Public Information Officer for the 1st Judicial District Attorney. Pam retired from the DA's office this past year, and she's being recognized today for her more than 30 years of service to our community and for her decades of service on the board of the Jeffco Good News Coalition. Pam's with us on the call this morning, so I'm going to put her on the spot. If she'd like to just say a few words, that would be wonderful. Pam, you just need to unmute.
Thank you, Sarah. I haven't said anything to a group of people in, 14 months now. What an honor. The Good News Coalition was just one of the greatest privileges of my career, to have an opportunity to work with a group of people whose sole focus is to bring good into the community. And I don't know about anybody else, but I'm just kind of jazzed here. I'm almost bouncing with that sense of energy from Omar and from the people that we just heard from about, and I want to go out and do something good. And that's one of the benefits of this coalition. Thank all of you who brought this together. Thank you to the Warren Tech folks. My career was a blessing, an honor. I couldn't have done anything I loved more. And being on this committee really was just icing on the cake. So thank you all.
Thank you, Pam, and congratulations.
All right, and thank you, Pam, for all of your years of service. I don't know how we've counted decades. I think at least 1 or 2 decades that you've been around and been involved in all of this with the Good News Breakfast too. So thank you again. And that honor is something that you totally deserve. So we're glad to give that to you this morning.
Thank you.
One of the things too that we always do here, I think, is that at the Good News Breakfast, we answer the question, hey, what can one person do? You hear that a lot of times. They say, look, I'm only one person. What can I do? And every one of the honorees that we have had so far has been, throughout the years, one person who started out with a vision and a dedication. And they said, I am only one person, but watch what I can do. And so they got together a group, and while they were getting the group together, they began to spread the idea of what we can do and share that concept. And once they did that, all of a sudden they had a tribe, and all of a sudden they had a movement. And then after that, they were affecting all of the community around them. So I hope that that gives you a little bit of hope too, in the idea that even if you are just one person, doesn't matter. You can get a lot of people around you if you have that dedication and you have that vision and you start out actually doing something and people join you, and then the community gets changed for the better. You know, we have a lot of sponsors too at the Good News Breakfast, and we want you to take a look at them, because without them, really, they make a financial commitment to back this venture so that we can put on this program year after year. And we'd love it if you would just, as you're out and about, as you can be out and about, and you go into their place of business, just take a minute and say, you know, thank you for supporting the Good News Breakfast, because you just don't know how the ripple effects out there are going to affect and inspire people so that they also get the idea that they can do something as well. So we thank you so much. Please take a look at them. And if you do see them somewhere in your daily rounds, just say thank you to them, because they are the ones who help financially make all of this possible. Well, guess what? We're getting you out, actually, if you can imagine this, sooner than we normally do. We usually get you out in exactly an hour because we know you have a busy day and a lot of things to do. So as we send you off this morning, we hope we send you off as well with a lot of inspiration for you to take your vision and your dedication and do something, just one thing for your community that makes it so much better. And we will have a lot of opportunity, hopefully in the future, to shine the spotlight on you. Now providing our final inspiration for this morning is Rabbi Zvi Steinberg, who is at the Congregation Zera Abraham, Westside, Denver.
Thank you so much, Neil. Thank you to all members of the committee, all members of this coalition for inviting me and giving me a chance to be inspired by all of you. I was finishing a class and caught the end of Omar's words, and I'm just, as Pam said, just hopping with excitement and enthusiasm toward this venture. It's just absolutely terrific. I believe my role is to deliver a blessing, a convocation on this gathering. Blessing, let's talk a bit about Hebrew, a little etymology in the Hebrew language. The Hebrew word for blessing is beracha. There's something unique about the Hebrew language that regardless of the vowelization of a word, if the consonants are shared by other words, that phonetic relationship also creates a relationship of meaning. So what does the word blessing mean? The other words which share the same phonetic consonants of the word beracha, the Hebrew word for blessing, is the Hebrew word for wellspring and the Hebrew word for kneeling. Here is a gathering which speaks of its own blessing. It celebrates blessing. It celebrates the idea that each one of us has an infinite power to do good, to inspire another and to embellish another person's life. That's blessing. If we want to impart a blessing onto that, of course that means that it should only continue. A wellspring is a body of water which is a continuous fount. It continues on, and there's a momentum, there's an inertia. And that's what we're recognizing here, that's what we're discovering here. So the blessing is that it should continue, and it should expand, and each one of us takes part of that. Each one of you takes part of that, in the sense that your good inspires others to do good, and it increases exponentially. It's really something to recognize and to think a bit, and to try to fathom the depth of that kind of power that we have to create this kind of expansion of good. The other word that we mentioned, to which the Hebrew word for blessing, beracha, is related, is the word, berech, which means to kneel. Part of doing good is to give a bit of oneself. We have a Jewish teaching that we want to, we embark on a mission of joy. Of course, we want to give joy to others, but we also want to be joyful. That's a Jewish teaching. We are supposed to be joyful. What is it that gives us joy? What makes us happy? What gives us that sense of just, being happy to be who we are? I believe the answer to that is when we make the right decision. When we have a choice in front of us, we have two paths to which to go, and we choose the right one. Moreover, when the ability to make that decision is something which challenges us, and it's a difficult decision, it's something which is hard to choose the right thing to do, Once we've made that decision, then we feel joy. There are so many efforts here that have been celebrated at this morning and in previous years. Neil, you spoke of decades of work. It's, again, thinking about the exponential effect of the actions that we do, it's really something extraordinary. Many of the efforts that have been celebrated here and that each one of you personify are efforts which are difficult to do. Perhaps the greatest act of kindness is when we perform that kindness to an individual or to a group of individuals to whom we really don't want to, because then the decision to do so is difficult. And here we are feeling a sense of joy. We're feeling a sense of celebration together as a community. I believe that joy is compounded because of the fact that so many things that we have done have taken a lot of hard work. There have been difficult decisions to make, and especially when it includes kindness that we really don't want to do, but we do it anyway. And there's the relationship to that other Hebrew word of berech, of kneeling, a certain kind of sacrifice, of the things of our own comforts, of our own time, our own energy, for the sake of others. That indeed is something great. That's greatness. That's our own greatness expanding as a wellspring. That's our own joy, which is being expressed. So I bless this gathering. I bless each and every one of us, each and one of you, that we should continue in these enormous, awesome efforts. It's just so terrific. I wish I could shake each one of your hands and let me send out an embrace to each one of you. Thank you for being this part of this great group of friends. May we continue in these great efforts. May we continue to celebrate these moments and these individual efforts that each one of you have displayed for many long and healthy years to come. Congratulations to each one of you.
Thank you, Rabbi Steinberg. Great words. Thank you. Definitely. We have a chance today to be a blessing, as Rabbi Steinberg talked about. And you're going to hear a lot of negative. You're going to hear a lot about unrest and a lot about chaos in the news today. But you can tune a lot of that out and change the tide yourself. Go out and be a blessing to somebody. Use the encouragement that you've seen this morning and use that to empower you to actually do something for somebody else that would change their day to the positive. Thanks to all of you for being with us and attending our 31st annual Good News Breakfast. And next year, keeping our fingers crossed, we hope to see you in person once again. Thank you, everybody, and have a fabulous day.
Thanks, Neil.